Hello everyone, I'm your host, Remember. Today we're going to our series on Hunter Fire 4, Old War Blues, as we're doing the Enclave, Reformist Faction campaign. Let's get right into the game. Okay, for my, stuff right now, I should invest into, like, construction, while they're pretty much being repaired right now from all the stupid terrorists in the territory. Oh, that's no good. I'll prioritize a bunch of infrastructure in the factory heartland in the area for my next focus. Okay, we're going to do Reno Reborn. I had to zoom out because I keep hearing like the freaking vehicles running. It looks like we're going to have to be here for a long haul. While New Reno it has some of the level of infrastructure, the vast majority of the city is still given over to vice and back alley crimes. It's just like Washington D.C., but without the instructions and buildings to support a full government. We need to get to fixing that. We got Harold Richardson. My father tried to destroy the world, well, I'm going to rebuild it. Considered a failure and a traitor, Harold Richardson was once to be in line for the president after his father stepped down. However, after mandatory service under Gannon, Sir Harold began to shy away from the dogmatic views of the oil rig after disagreeing with his father over treatment of the Vault 13 prisoners. Richardson and his son had a falling out, including a shouting match before President Richardson sent his son to the mainland to oversee operations in New Reno. The irony is not lost of the young Richardson. Many purists consider him a failure, and the reformers consider him a stain like his father. At least we'll give him a chance, right? At least he goes against him. The assassination of Mr. Bishop. Mr. Bishop, once the top dog of New Reno, died today after his safe house was attacked by a team of Enclave operatives posing as old henchmen. After they took over his cities, Mr. Bishop spent his days attempting to bring the Enclave return to light. Always treading carefully, avoiding his own identity and location from becoming public knowledge. In the end, this only delays is inevitable. You need to live like a dog, and you get put down like a dog. We can reroute Crimson Caravan companies. We will get captive industry into the blizzard, while most of the remaining purists were either executed, had accidents, or simply packed up and disappeared while they still had chance. One particular numerous group appropriated a few vertebrates and headed north, far beyond our radar coverage. One can only guess that why they could choose such a bizarre direction. They'll probably freeze to death, anyways. Dr. Henry returns. Dr. Henry is an ex-Enclave medical scientist. He used to work with the Enclave cybergenetic and research program at the Poseidon oil rig and at various other Enclave installations. Later, he deserted the Enclave due to a conflict with another scientist. When he received word of the revival of the Enclave, he was skeptical at first, but once news spread of our efforts of becoming a worthy American government, he has left his clinic to rejoin the Enclave and get one more grand accomplishment done. Welcome back, Doc. The anti-integration faction. The purists are no more, but that does not mean every member of the reformers faction is an unconditional lover of wastelanders. Many hold the opinion that while they are certainly no purists, the wastelanders should be kept a safe arm's length from the pure stock human of the Enclave. For them, can be no integration, only the ruling of one class by their genetic betters. Many ex-purists and reformer moderates have gone over to this new faction in our government. How should we approach this new divide? The elite party will now be called the anti-integration party. It's 2 steps forward, 1 steps back. How do I kill them? Get the military committee. New Reno Reborn. The Reno Initiative. Due to the mix of strategic and unimportance, defense of Las Vegas and its sheltered location within the Sierra Mountains, the city of New Reno survived the war mostly intact. However, that doesn't mean it survived the intervening years of unscathed. With the collapse of government and authority, the city already prolific gang violence tore the city apart. It wasn't until the end of the 22nd century that the city stabilized behind several crime families. By the mid-23rd century, it had stabilized behind 4 families. Now in the late 23rd century, the Enclave arrived, and with it, Granite. While the Enclave soldiers replaced gang enforcers, the city remained in a dilapidated state, made worse by the recent fighting between the gang forces and the Enclave soldiers. In order to address the city, the president proposed the Reno Initiative, a grand project to return the city from a rundown dive of vice and crime to a jewel of the wasteland, benefiting the capital of the Enclave, in whatever form it will take. The NSR might boast of Sadie Shans, the house brag about New Vegas, a bright light in the blighted landscape. But when caravans of travelers visit Nevada, it would be New Reno that would be the greatest city in the wastes. Build Reno back better, make make Reno great again. Let's build back better. I have some plans in the future that I could use some extra supporting units for the battlefield. Okay, we need our spice structure to be up because we're having high amount of resistance. So we're gonna do demand from Cedar. There is one officer amongst our ranks claiming to be from the ever agnostic and deduct Enclave intelligence. He says he cares little for politics, only wants America to be restored to its former glory. Demand from Cedar. Demand for Cedar. Enclave intelligence. Where do we begin? Is it their failure to predict a tribal from Oregon would blow up the rig? Their secretive ways that aren't subject to oversights? Their removal officers or politicians that they deemed a threat? Or maybe it's the fact they were one of the new Enclave organizations that nepotism didn't exactly pan out, thus creating the stigma that they now deserve. Regardless, many thought Enclave intelligence died with the rig, as their officers and operatives haven't been seen in over 30 years. However, that wasn't until a bedraggled caravan merchant arrived at one of our depot claiming to be a Colonel Callahan from Enclave Intelligence. Our guards nearly shot him on the spot, but the officer of the guards checked him, and sure enough, he was holding the correct credentials, including the DNA sequencer. He since cleaned up and is speaking about plans to renovate the greatest intelligence apparatus in the post-war era. His charisma must be maxed out because a lot of people are listening. Sure, but about Cedar? Great Enclave intelligence? I want to see what's his visor. Give me an extra operative slot. I could use that. Cold feet. Direction of the construction of hidden independent safe houses in the field will allow us to field more spies. Fowler established himself, having failed to work out that were behind efforts to take advantage of them. The followers of the apocalypse have finally spread completely throughout our nation. They now occupy a number of forts, towers, and bases across the country. Use them as medical centers and knowledge hubs to assess local populations. Sure enough, populations are expanding as babies and battle-wounded alike are nurtured back to health by these eerie doctors. Local farmers are also growing bumper crops thanks to the expansive agriculture knowledge that the Fowler seems to possess. With these benefits come drawbacks, however, and slowly but surely the Fowler's ideas are seeping out into the settlements they assist. More and more young men are laying down their arms, seeing agriculture as a more profitable enterprise. Young children are being taught basic medicine. All those who gain some knowledge from the followers remember their debts, and as a result, the influence of the followers are gradually increasing. We should be able to hold this at bay, and we'll reap the rewards from the followers' presence, but we must be wary. Okay, replace followers bring to followers of the apocalypse. Multi-population, but less war support. Okay, we should hire a few of them. We hire activities from NCR. Enclave doctors flock to Legion. That's stupid. Although we took powers from a promise to not purge our political enemies, like those politicians we've fallen short of our promises, while some purists fled to Chicago or Raven Rock, some Enclave loyalists who like Wastelander Americans personally, but doubt our cause have sold their services to Legion. The bastards took some suits of power armor, plasma guns, and our latest supply of FEV on their way out. Apparently, Caesar intended to use them to bring the torch of knowledge to the waste in a rather literal fashion. Caesar's Legion is not real. They are people who love wearing skirts and crucifying people and doing weird stuff with rope. Yeah, you get more stuff for our troopers. Bias compromise. We have retrieved an emergency transmission from our espionage in the New California Republic. They claim to have compromised and abandoned their base operation as a result. Days away from the border and on foot. They are asking for emergency evacuation. Heroic extraction and no man left behind looks good in after action reports. But we need to consider our operational security as a whole when deciding our response. Goes up. Get him out. Okay, we need to bribe some officials. And we get new spies. Jake looks good for my reports. Oh my god, why are you guys increasing? Add more spies there to get rid of the resistance. Cold feet. Okay, we're gonna get some Enclave police. New Reno didn't need police when it's run by warring crime families, but establishing a new rule of law could go a long way towards giving the United States legitimacy in the wasteland. The Enclave can create a police force to be a model for America. Okay, we're getting dedicated workshops. Logistics. She looks pretty good for 500. America's 500th birthday is approaching. Some would say she's showing her age. The land is scoured by mutants and raiders. The Enclave, America's last great hope, is a shadow of his former self. But to grant it, this is just a cause to rebel his efforts. Americans, he declared on the radio, have never bowed to the depot and never will. Things may look bleak, but America will survive for the next 500 years, and well beyond that, because the Enclave will fight a better world. Or the Enclave will always fight for freedom. Brain damage? While losing their family and friends to the pre-grant mindset is not the worst part. Many of them were great high brightness in the science division, while few still remains are picking the leftover scraps that have been left by the Exodus. You can recruit graduation scientists, but it will take years. Surprisingly, those gang scientists we brought are in and making their betrayal so much easier. Remembering the kindness we showed them, we took them in the Reno's slums, and they took upon themselves to pick up the slack. They've been working alongside our scientists and have managed to lessen the blow from the brain drain we've suffered. Bringing them in could be good. We got integrated supports. We need to keep up. We got a freaking tank. We have a freaking tank. Adaptive chain of command. Over. Enclave police. The new Reno is safer, and you expect for a city with no police force, but that's because order is maintained by a gentleman's agreement between the families. We could incorporate many of those their mobsters in our new police force, or we could start from scratch. With police trained by Sergeant Dornan. You have to be a moron to rely on the new Reno's gang. Patrol the streets. Pre-war, the capital was defined by Metro Police, while virtually important areas were overseen by the military. By putting the military in key strategic areas, the police can increase their patrols and even call them in when needed. Patrol the streets. The Enclave and you. Hello, citizens of New Reno. This is Granite. By now, you've seen the new Reno police patrolling your city streets, courtesy of the Enclave. However, it seems that the denizens that prowl your streets and wish to see a return to the crime and destruction of all think they can gain an advantage over law and order. Well, to do that, I say bring it on. Starting today, members of our brave military begin assisting the new Reno police in patrolling the streets. Now, don't worry. I know what you're thinking. I won't be declaring martial law. We've created a new Reno police to remove that. Instead, the army will augment the police by protecting high-value areas, allowing police to put great manpower on the streets to keep you safe at night. When you see our brave men and women in power armor, be sure to thank them, salute them maybe. They, like all of us, are trying to make the wasteland a better place to live, and remember, the Enclave wants you to rebuild New Reno. Reform the Secret Service leaned up to and after the Great War. The Secret Service went from protecting the president to essentially become the president's own goon squad, handling whatever the president needs to in a timely manner. It's what's led to a lot of reformer deaths. The return of Arcade Gannon. Since the Enclave's reform and integration of American citizens, some of those who fled after the fall of Navarro have returned to us. Among those is the scientist Arcade Gannon, the son of Enclave officer who will later join the followers of the Apocalypse. Inspired by our promise of a better life for the people of the Wastes, he's willing to turn to the Enclave's ranks. I love a man in uniform. Allow me to introduce myself. Back when he was a mercenary commander, Grant lived off the fight, but hated what he would often have to do paperwork. Oftentimes, he would get his subordinates to do it for him, allow him to throw back with the men. Now, all he had was paperwork, and he was seriously regretting running for president. So when the door to his office opened, an older man in a gray suit entered, Grant took it as the best excuse not to do paperwork. Mr. President, allow me to introduce myself. Felix Grayson, the closest thing to the law in the Syrian Army Depot. Graham nodded. What followed was Grayson explained his stance of law and order as well as his dedication to uphold said law. Grant afraid and interested because at the very least the man had talking a very good story before Grayson come to the crux of why he was here. Mr. President, if you so allow me to take up the position of Attorney General in your cabinet, I wish to conduct a campaign to apprehend and arrest the raiders that have constructed various horrendous crimes across our great nation. Anderson would just have them all destroyed, but I believe in the power of the justice system. It's what separates us from these raiders. I have a small contingent of former Revolt City Guards I've affectionately named the U.S. Marshals ready to serve. Brant looked down at his desk, seeking 3 requisitions from officers requesting to go various raiders groups. Grant needed to review each one of them and likely change how said officers did it, especially since one was requesting Verbers to assist in eradicating a whole settlement, putting on his best competitive look. Grant looked back to Grayson. I understand. I respect your commitment to the nation and justice. Here, we got at least 3 raid groups the army's after. Take the marshals and go after them. You have my full authority as the new Attorney General. Make the nation proud. From Secret Service is complete. Can't do the White House thing yet. Okay, prepare expansion. With New Reno secure, the rest of Northern Nevada lies open to us. Technology of Law City, the manpower of the tribals, and then there are the Yakuza, a threat to our flank. We're gonna get Sergeant Dornan as our cultural advisor. We're gonna drive out the Yakuza. The Yakuza pretend to be heirs to Japanese traditions, which would be fine if they weren't on American soil. Remnants wish to return. We have been contacted by the leader of a sizable company of Enclave remnants. They have survived the decades as raiders, greatly feared due to their advanced tactics and technology. Having heard rumors of the return of the Enclave, they wish to be reinstated to our armed forces. While the extra manpower could be very useful, their disdain for the mutants rivals that of Anderson and his ick. We must therefore consider the political consequences to accepting them in our ranks. The prodigal sons have returned. We need more troopers, and I think we can take the hit. A not-so-secret service, granted read over various reports on arrests in the city. Turns out using the Secret Service to collect taxes was the best method. Dan McCoy's dedicated tax squad that she set up was nothing more than a shakedown team that went door to door ordering whoever answers the door to hand over money. Didn't matter who, be it as a starving mother, an old lady, or former gangsters who survived the Enclave slaughter of the New Reno gangs. Complaints were piling up fast, and more than once the task squad had nearly been overrun by an angry mob, and Enclave troops had to be called to ensure they weren't shot and killed. McCoy further expressed her frustration over basically being told go collect taxes if granted, as this wasn't like the mercenary days where they could just extract payment from a client who didn't pay up. This was further exaggerated by the fact there was no consistency in the income. Sometimes they have a good collection, other times they have come up empty. Granted was starting to wonder if this whole being present thing was worth it, but that wasn't the reason when he was reading the tax squad reports. Seems one of the business owners of New Reno had petitioned for audience with the president to assist in this problem. However, whoever it was remained anonymous, but claimed they wanted to help since they foreshadowed were bad for business. Granite agreed and sent the Secret Service to retrieve them from an agreed meeting space. He loosened stacked the reports of McCoy entered a slight smirk on her lips. Granite, Miss Kitty is here to see you. Wait, who? What the hell? What kind of internal service? Miss Kitty was more than a title than an actual name. The Miss Kitty of the Cat's Paw in 2241 had long retired and her daughter had taken over. The current Miss Kitty and thankfully inherited her mother's meticulous eye for record keeping and running a business, as well as having her own intentions of keeping her operations running despite the recent chaos that had reigned over the city in recent years. Enclave be damned. As far as she was concerned, Secret Service running around shaking down people for taxes was bad for business. Especially as the tax squad had tried to shake her down twice in the same day. If people lacked money, that means they weren't going to spend it at her establishment. What's worse, that they were shaking down her workers. She knew the Enclave wasn't going anywhere anytime soon, and that the only option other was either Vault City or NCR to take over. And frankly, she disliked them more than she dislikes the Enclave. Enclave soldiers paid well, but that she's a stripper, but what could as it her girls are shaken down. Granted, however, was a bit bewildered. So, did you ask for this meeting just to complain to me that you don't like the Secret Service collecting taxes? Miss Kitty purred in amusement. Oh no, honey. I'm here to offer some help. Hurry, you come on in. Gran raised an eyebrow as an intelligent woman dressed in ill-fitting pre-war business wear entered. He's seen enough to tell them someone was going to used to wearing professional clothing. He would know he was one of them. From her hair to makeup this wasn't someone who worked a normal 9 to 5. This was someone who worked a 5 to 9 or later. We're offering a stripper to collect tax. What the fuck? You can't be serious. Miss Kitty laughed. I prefer the term dancer, however. She hasn't danced in some time. Area had her here has proven herself useful at crunching numbers and know the income of nearly everyone in the city. She even deducted the income of your rugged soldiers in their ranks. She's more an accountant than a dancer. Gran leaned back in his chair for the first time since he took office. This was something familiar to him. Being mercenary commander often meant that he needed to deal with clients, and he can tell when someone was offering something that was too good to be true. So, what's the catch? You wouldn't be offering this if there was anything in it for you. He responded with Miss Kitty warmly. Oh, but there is. If it means I don't have to see your goons walk in and demand a ransom every other day, and it's worth the losing my accountant. Besides, with your soldier boys walking the streets, I can dedicate more time to my affairs rather than dealing with chem addicts trying to spike drinks. Garen was before about to speak, I should do the voice, when the door in his office entered and is walking Grayson. A stack of papers in his hand, so focused so granted he didn't see the two standing there. Here's your go, sir, bi-weekly report between the Secret Service MPs and my own marshals. We're pacifying the wasteland. He finally turned to see the two standing there and instantly recognized Miss Kitty going red in his face. Oh, sorry, Mr. President, I wasn't aware. I didn't know how it was in Oregon, but perhaps not conducting private affairs during work hours. Brett, who wanted this whole thing to end, just shook his head. No, Felix, this is Miss Aria. She's the head of the IRS now. A frickin' stripper. Irish reborn, sort of. Setting up in a semi-renovated old IRS branch office in New Reno, Miss Aria had her work cut out for her, and she didn't know whether to use her newfound authority of tax, her reform matron of her existence, for thrusting this mess on her, or thanking her since this was a lot better than spending all day crunching numbers, than turning around and entertaining men all night. Besides, she got her own office now. However, she was still a mostly a one-woman show, as Grano had tasked her with figuring out to tax the populace. Though she had some breathing room with the income from the caravans, it was mostly a one-man woman show. However, because she has been given command to the tax squad, the Secret Service goons who were shaking down half of New Reno and beyond to get more sort of income, they were not exactly the happiest to be placed under command of a former prostitute. But when there was a understanding between them, mostly as Miss Area give them targets and how much to extract. A far cry from Dana McCoy's, just go get whatever you can if you want to get paid. Miss Area also told them to go out and observe some of the higher end business around New Reno guesstimates their income. All this to begin establishing a tax of some sort and would involve beating people up in the back alleys. We can declare war on the Yakuza.
This is Enclave I. Who the hell is this? The president?
Attack! Oh my god, I hope we were just destroying them. Garrison City you go. Shark Club pulls in a few thousand caps a night, and that's the most profit bar. Jungle Jim's prize fighting remains the large sum of caps. We've seen a New Reno Arms is profitable, however. I don't think we can have the firepower to make them pay, spoke Jacob. He was the sergeant of the tax squad, a former mercenary from Granite Company. McCoy chose him for the job because of his opposing size, and ever since he took over the tax squad, he hated. It was one bad day after another, dealing with the rough and tumble citizens of New Reno, and now he was resigned to be speaking the lackey key of a prostitute. At the very least, she was good with numbers and couldn't hold a conversation. As Miss Area wrote down the exact figures his squad had to observe, she logged them on her computer before turning to him. Tell me, Sergeant, have you heard of the emergency tax proposal? Jacob raised an eyebrow. The what? British tax proposal to pre-war government's plan to tax its citizens post-war, spoke Miss Aria calmly. Jacobs dropped. You mean the damn governor was going to collect taxes after the Great War? Miss Aria nodded. At least what I can gather from a few records I found sifting through the building files. However, I didn't know a damn thing about it. That's where you come in. I arranged for you and your squad to go to the old Nevada office of taxing in Carson City. See what you can find. Jacob shrugs. After the war. Collecting in Carrion City. It's not like this was a secret operation or anything, but it was considered high profile. The Nevada office and taxation has been left direct by the Yakuza and the New Reno gangs. They were pre-war records of income and tax procedures. Groups that's idea of taxation was none too different that Jacob and the tax squad. By the time the Secret Service agents arrived, armies had secured the building and shot up a few feral ghouls that were wasting away inside. There was also a small radroach infestation, but that was being handled. Heading down the office server's room, the hums of the fusion generator broke the silence, and his agents began searching around the record. Even a incomplete record could be more than enough, however. Most of the servers were filled with internal correspondence of a tax office staffed by sociopaths, the fear of automation taking their jobs, and a corrupt chief tax auditor who also on the payroll of every casino in Vegas. Most interesting was a correspondence about the auditor being complacent in tax evasion with Mr. House in Vegas. Then they found it, a digital backup with the revised 2067 emergency tax proposal, archived as per 2075 directive that was all tax offices have one. Jacob immediately downloaded it onto holotape. Part of him laughed as he thought the old saying he was told McCoy when he was put in charge of the tax squad. Nothing in life is certain except death in Texas. How many freaking things I'm gonna read in this episode? Revised 2067 emergency tax proposal. Miss Area sat at her desk, her sharp eye scanned her terminal with the revised 2067 emergency tax proposal. Holotape loaded with nothing short of a gold mine. This is it, she murmured to herself, clicking through pages filled with emergency protocols, adjust tax codes, and guidelines for managing a shattered economy. Her lead agent, Secret Service Agent Jacob, stood by her and sighed a stern expression, softly, slightly, as she watched her excitement. So what's the plan, he asked, this voice calm but carrying a hint of curiosity. Miss Arian grinned. Well, we need adjustment of some sort of tax protocols and figure out how to account for the barter economy that's been developed. Further, we will need to figure out how to scale it, as there is assumes the government still has some control over the nation. But the proposal is solid. They knew what they were doing back in 2067. Now it's our turn to make it work. Jacob's lips curled into a slight smirk. Looked like the Enclave secret tax squad is about to have a lot more legitimate. Miseria chuckled. Already scribbled notes on how to revise the tax structure to suit the Enclave's needs. With the full backing of President Granite and the expertise of her team, she was ready to return the page of history into the foundation of the new future. Naros was about to become a force to be reckoned with, and Miss Ariel was eager to put her plan into action. Not bad for a prostitute.
This is Enclave Maincom. Why isn't your video feed working?
Get some vacuum tubes. Get primitive radio.
The fucking president's watching us like a hawk.
A meeting with the left. To say Miss Ariel was an outlier in Granite's government was an understatement. Most of it, if not all, of its members were either mercenary or vault state security with Enclave heritage, or were direct Enclave heritage from Anderson's group. She was a former prostitute in charge of trying to get a tax system going, but the fact she technically controlled their paychecks was the only reason no one said anything. Out of all of them, though there was one wild card and was rumored to be the deadliest man in the Enclave aside Granite. That man now calmly sitting in front of her drinking a Nuka-Cola. So, why am I here? He asked. Miss Ariel folded her hands nearly on the table, her eyes sharpened. Colonel, I'm here to offer you something in exchange for giving your caravan company tax exception status. Gallican raised an eyebrow, interrupting her, but skeptical. I'm listening. We're building the IRS from scratch, Miss Ariel replied smoothly. In exchange, I need your assistance. We need accurate data on the market. If Cedar Company provides us with detailed intelligence on caravan companies in the major markets in the region, we'll be able to create a more effective tax bracket for the entire nation. There was a silence for a moment as Callaghan processed her words. Then, to her surprise, a broad grin slid across his face. He leaned back in his chair, shaking his head in disbelief before bursting into laughter. You want me to collect market intelligence on my competitors? He laughed. So you can't tax them? Hell, lady, there's a spare holiday we got that information on hand at all times. Miss Area blinked, momentarily taken back by this reaction. She has expected some resistance, maybe even some argument. But Callaghan was already rifling through his jacket, producing holotape from his coat pocket as he'd been waiting for this opportunity. That was easy. Replace Secret Service Attack Squad to fledgling IRS program. Hide the activities from NCR. We're gonna get Enclave Radio. Our spice radio beacons could be used to broadcast the Enclave's message to California. Let sympathizers far and wide hear of the Enclave's vision. While we are at it, those same beacons can be also used as listening outposts.
A few more moments and I'll have your sorry ass in a sling. Ah, that's a no one. Enclave here.
Enclave Radio complete. We're gonna get some loyal officers, get me some support. We're gonna get some Enclave stigma. Well cloaked in daggers, nice. America needs to take direct action against their foes if we are going to have any hope of defeating them. And we must know just who to use. Soldiers cut out of uniform. During one of his dreaded surprising interactions, Sergeant Dornan caught a private out of his standard issue power armor, cited maintenance, but no such request was filed. Dornan wastes no time demanding 1,000 push-ups and unit happened by. Get the boys some slack, we actually need the war support.
Who the hell is this? The president? Look. Everything's always tighter out here at Enclave.
Just fucking destroy them. Yep, we took the Yakuza, take over states. We will not be pushed around. Enclave stigma. Analysts of the Great War, the Enclave occurred away at what few elite forces and Black Ops teams onto the rig and in secure bases on the mainland. However, the rivalry between the various units threatened to tear the Enclave apart, forced the presidents at the time to reform them all under one single command, Enclave Sigma. An elite direct action force that was culmination over 200 years special forces doctrine development. Since the rig's destruction, many who didn't die on the rig or at Navarro fled east, and those who did are now old and aging, yet their knowledge remains, ready to train the future generations. Perhaps it is time to reinstate the most elite soldiers to ever walk the wastes, starting of course which team would be the first to stand up. I think blue team is good, able to sabotage supply lines against enemies. I think we would try to preserve Japanese culture or to get honor from them. And loyalty. We're gonna get plant cultivation. Preserve Japanese culture. Yakuza honor. It seems our commitment to preserving Japanese culture and our acceptance of wastelanders as a whole bore some fruit. This central recruitment office in Reno was given word that 2 entire battalions worth of former Yakuza are outside in formation, wearing uniforms that resembles ours. They claim they are willing to serve the Enclave, the United States as soldiers, and willing to give their lives for our cause. Given our limited numbers, we can't exactly turn them down their request for troops, even if some of them are more hardline officers or against having former criminals in the army. What's more than their discipline and knowledge of urban warfare cannot be overlooked. Plus, it was be really cool to see a banzai charge against the Legion. Well, go broke. It gave us new power. There were like samurais in power armor. Holy crap, that's cool. We're gonna do the mutant question. Since the Great War, ratification, which has led to the creation of ghouls and mutants. Okay, we caused mutants with FPV, and even the wastelanders are not pure humans. We must decide if American dreams apply to them as well. We'll play some tanks in the field, using basic tools. We're going to deploy Sigma teams at Sierra Army Depot. Oh my god.
Who the hell is this?
That is so freaking cool. The mutant question. The Enclave of old barely recognized the mutant dissidents of the wasteland as humans. Many among us still don't desire clear lines to be drawn between purebred humans and wasteland mutants. The official status of our government towards our mutant subjects must be clear to those within without the Enclave. We fight not to enslave, but to set a country free. Integrate officers. By integrating wastelanders in our army, we unite the nation to our flag and give our enemies something else to shoot at. We get walking tanks. We'll get partial mobilization. We're gonna integrate scientists as well. We're gonna have part standardization, I meant. We'll get some caravan guards. And we're going to integrate politicians. Down Mexico Way, President granted before the American Great Wars, Reconstruction forces in Mexico operation under the aid of powerful AI known as Dialogue. Although sadly the AI has never been accepted or claimed to be the United States' legitimate U.S. authority, doubt bills due to the programming error, Dialogue has lately broadcast signals suggesting to be he is malfunctioning. Perhaps we should explore this. One tool that could be invaluable is understanding just how Talok robots keep going without running out of fuel immediately. I wonder what this at Talok's program. Okay, it's the heart of the storm. To cover data, results from Mexico, but the results may be unpleasant. Let's take that. No problems at all. Americans won and all. The time has come to break down the barrier between our new citizens and old guards of the Enclave. By accepting distinguished Lacelanders in higher positions of government, we can improve our legitimacy as rightful American government. Eat tube granite? T2 granite? It seems our doubters and traitors fled to Arizona. We've been doing our best to keep an eye on them, but the latest batch of the two deserters gave us a clue to where they're going. Using a little Sigma team, we tracked them down to make their way to Arizona, no doubt join the Legion. We figured out they could put to the cross like so many others. Until today, however, word reached us from a caravan of a chilling advancement. In Flagstaff, Kaiser announced the creation of the Aquilian Palatine, the closest thing to a scientific body of the Legion. If there was one, there is no doubt in our mind that the Enclave who defected to his cause was worse. It's decided paradoxically. In advancing the Legion, Kaiser claimed that they have cleared his mind of woeful thoughts and distractions, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean, which was rumored to be afflicted by a former follower of the Apocalypse. Looks like Kaiser isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Ah, damn it. It won't matter, we'll kill him regardless. Heart of the storm. Good news, everyone. The backdoor our troops found was still active, and they were able to access ChicoNet. We already gained valuable data and are stealing some of the treasures of Mexico, but one of our scientists believed that he can subvert Talok and make him recognize we are the true American government. With the power of the Talok, we can build America and Mexico too eventually. Proceed with Operation Sam Houston, proceed with Operation... Okay, it seems more beneficial than that, but it seems to be a little bit wrong right here. I'll take it. Oh shit, across Mexico, Talok stations fell silent. Oh my shit. Across Mexico, Talok fills the Enclave scientists outside the Outliers kicked to the terminal. The anvil silence and then crossed the airwaves. The question, what did you do? Wait, who are you again? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Oh, murder must fall. You killed my father and your protector. All that you have ever done is fight and bicker in the mud. In 100,000 years, you will not be fit for liberty. Despotism in a form proper government, and servitude your proper lot. But if you're not, my fellow Mexicans, there's no reason your new master cannot be wise, the virtuous one. Across Talok domains, the robot advanced. Santa Annie's eyes start vacantly as they advance, so they're starting every atrocity to follow. Quick, blame the Brotherhood. Oh shit. Well, from the radio complete, you'll get sample circuitry. America's one for all complete. And plant cultivation, you'll get more reconnaissance as well. Promotion, regional commander position has opened up. There's 2 available candidates eligible for promotion: older, experienced Navarro veteran, and younger, outspoken reformer. Promote the experienced man, definitely. It will get the American dream. Let us make our vision clear to those all within our borders. Our aim is to revive the United States of America. We will not intend to make any compromise with New California Republic or anyone else who stands in the way of our destiny. Okay, hide activities NCR. This is getting dire now. The American dream. Our flag is still here. The Enclave dream has always been to restore America to its rightful shores, from sea to shining sea. It is what drove the Enclave on through those dark early years after the Great War and kept their drive going for over 100 years. And what was the spark that returned them to the shores of California, where they began their return? That light was thought dead in the past 3 years since the destruction of the rig, with many proud Americans hunted down like rabid dogs. Many at the time shot dead in the streets, but no longer. Perez again announced today that the Enclave dream of returning the stars and stripes to the shores of America will begin in earnest. That step will be taken to infiltrate the lays of the groundworks for America's return. All he asked for was time to return, ready, time to repair. That soon one day this new world will see the return of the United States, and that nothing will, not even a tribal was going to stop with them this time. May our banner forever wave. We will get the White House reborn. Since Granite started his Reno Reborn initiative, work has been progressing on what many are dubbing the Western White House. Now construction is nearly completion. Bring troops to the bear. War never changes, and what things do change, the more they seem to stay the same. By order of President Granite, our sights are now set to reclaim our lost lands and reforge this nation to the superpower it once was, and seeing Old Glory raise us high. However, before us lies the new California Republic, and with it the power of California. While we have an advantage in power armor and weapons, with our best scientists having flown the coup, we are nothing more than just a techno-warlord state with American heritage, and half our army's experience in combat is shooting gang enforcers, raiders, and a few tribals. The other half are so old their faces look like topographical maps. The NCR meanwhile has the industry capacity, a robust command system, and of course their numbers. Pre-war, the population ratio of Nevada to California was 14 to 1, and we can't expect those numbers to have improved since the Great War. In fact, they have gotten worse given California's level of development compared to Nevada. General Agustilia has put together a training plan to rapidly influx our ranks with new recruits and give them training up to fight. Basic training will be shortened to instill patriotism and cohesion, while primary combat training will be at the unit level when recruits alive. Those who have seen combat will be promoted to leadership positions and ensure our army stays professional, as well as drill fresh-faced soldiers in the art of war or wastelands warfare. Its own ideal is likely to lead to disorganization, and if we're going to beat the NCR, we need to have every Nevadian possible and brought to the fight. I take it no expeditions then, huh? No, now stop asking the dev to add them. Add the training law, all hands on deck. And all hands on deck, grant division organization minus 0.5. More people, training time minus, but experienced soldiers lost. So we're gonna do the Chinese tactic. White House Reborn. At least that's what this press dubbed it. While the security of the depot provided the president with the best protection in the wasteland, the detachment from the people who the Enclave claimed to represent soon took its toll. Even if it's nothing more than a show from the beginning of the Reno Initiative, everything has aimed to create a house fit for the leader of the Enclave. With the soldier Salvatore mansion, it was renovated, remodeled, and recreated an image of the White House in Washington, D.C. Of course, befitting the President of the United States, the Western White House was adorned, soon to become a new landmark within the city. With the Secret Service on routine patrol aside the army, the area around it became some of the safest in the city, causing a small economic boon for the city. It was seen here that Granite gave the first true public address in over 200 years, and not recorded over radio. Long was it spoken about how America was coming back, how the eagle would soar over the great nation once again. Despite not being part of the nation, most of their lives, the citizens of New Reno who heard the president speak felt a deep sense of patriotism not felt in years as the spirit of the old world took rest inside them. Grant assured they would see America though and from his home. From here, I'll be the servant of the people. Okay, more settlement help. Okay, Operation Babylon. The NCR mocks pre-war America, claimed to stand for liberty and progress even as it's mirrored in its corruption. By attacking its weak points, we can knock the whole thing over. First Battle of Hoover Dam begun. Basic tools complete. Operation Babylon complete. The whole world holds. Okay, organize the sympathizers. Many disillusioned citizens of New California Republic have flocked to the message of the Enclave. It is time to help turn their thoughts into actions. Our spies will contact as many sympathizers as possible and form bands of U.S. patriots, waiting patiently to use the weapons we supply them. Americans, one for all. Get the free country, men. We will do some principle. We will try to upgrade our tanks along the way. Get some more radio. Maybe get some artisan guilds. Okay. We had MGs in here. Had some recon, chems, MGs, demolitions, and dogs. Ready sympathizers. Army Patriot tutorial. Organize patriots, press the district, and press on territory. American will always fight for freedom. I think the patriots can serve as distractions for a bit. So send here. Send some here. Good for now. And send for the bear. With Vault City in our sight, we need to do something about that garrison. Thankfully, Navarro has given us the answer. Concerning reports, we have reports of the Enclave division using unjustified force against a wasteland settlement. The division in question is that when we accepted their full recently, they filed an after-action report that mentioned retaliating against small arms fire, but were impressed admitted to have received no more than thrown rocks. Court-martial the commanders and break up the divisions. We didn't lose that much. Send for the bear. Go on home, NCR. Go on home. If there was one thing the refugees that fled up to Vault City were always wary of was the NCR garrison in the city. While the standard troop was never a concern, their officers were always suspicious of the influx of personnel from the west. Well, we know how it all ended. However, if we are to make any headway, we are going to need the resources of Vault City. If the caravan sees the Enclave marching in towards the city or power armor being produced, the rest of the NCR will become suspicious. Well, think of Navarro was delivered. With our supplies in NCR, we've been able to forge documents for sending the garrison of Vault City out to Navarro, opening up the golden opportunity to swoop in and claim the city for ourselves. They should be cleared out by the time we decide to invade or offer protection, seeing the garrison has vacated. Interesting. We're going for their wars over there, so we're going to move on. The first brick. With New Reno under government better than drug-running gangsters, we can develop the city. We lost diplomatic issues in the sheep. First bricks. To be laid down, it was a long road to restore America, when chief among is getting America's industry back online. Much of it lays in ruins, but we're getting the Enclave, and if anyone wants it back online, we can. Many members of the military are adamantine of getting our old military industrial complex back online, producing weapons of war. Need to reconquer the continent. Few members, however, are pointing out to win over the populace, we are going to need to produce goods and produce to remind them what we are building, or else distract them from what's really the post-war America. Get some civilian infrastructures so we can build up military factories quicker. The Sear Army Depot. The Eastern Army Depot has remained relatively unlooted thanks to its automated defenses. They should respond to our military access codes, leaving us free to access the unspoiled lower levels of the depot to set up a new base of operations. The Army Depot. You'll get restoring Herlong. As the populace has grown, many soldiers and their families no longer want to live in cramped pre-war bunkers and hot warehouses. Just as the depot is the pre-war town of Herlong, which once served a depot, time has taken its toll on the town. If it means housing families, it's a worthy cause. We got the Dana McCoy as our Secret Service agent. Storing Herlong, life in the depot. Secret Army Depot was built as a massive storage depot for military equipment before being shuttered due to manpower constraints in the Great War. The problem is it's starting to become a bit difficult to get operations going, expand the base, when there are families living alongside the soldiers as well. Not everyone was being keen on moving to New Reno, be it wanting to stay with family, not wanting to live in the city, or just being secured behind the walls of the old army base. However, this place is not meant for families, and we can't conduct operations if we have children running through the halls or spouses being down on briefings because the toilet seat was left clogged. The answer, of course, lies right outside the base. With the ruins of Herlong, the town was built to support the base just for this reason. Sure, it's been seen better days, but engineers are ready to, and we've set up a special committee to decide who gets what and when within the town. Well, let's get it done. We'll spend some of our extra some of our extra power to get some in the south as distractions. Alright, the war is over. Now we can take over. Show force. With mostly must be ours, overall amount of force should bring the city under our control with minimal damage to its precious facilities and citizens. The plot uncovered in NCR territory. Spies have uncovered a map leading to a abandoned pre-war military depot is holding a large amount of old power armor suits in working conditions. However, these supposed NCR territory, mere efforts may not go unnoticed by the bear. Let's cover our tracks. Hurling Police Station. With the expansion of the depot, the military police detachment of the base has its focus more on the base itself. As such, we restored some old office buildings and set up a small police station to handle the town. Besides keeping the peace, they also be handling the occasional giant insect attacks and patrolling in case a wayward deathclaw stalking through the night. With the incentive of a bonus, we've reached out to a New Reno police to assist us in the endeavor. Said officers arrived a few days ago and are adjusting around the change from big city policing to small town policing. There is some friction between the military members now living in Herlong, but for most of the part, it's gone over smoothly. Most they'll be doing anyways is watching for soldier kids doing whatever it is the wasteland kids do these days. It'll buff out. Show of force. We declare war now. Fucking steamroll them. You'll get standardized tools. He doesn't like just walk around through. Cafeteria incident. A certain folk tag has restricted amongst cafeteria staff, involving one staff members intentionally handling ingredients improperly. Makes a show of finding and punish the man.
Enclave here. And the fucking president's watching us like a hawk. A few more moments and I'll have your sorry ass in a sling.
Come on, you can go on through. Yes, rush it. Just keep pushing, just keep pushing. Get a nice little encirclement.
You have to get out.
Oh, you are failures. Don't let them circle you. Man, that was quick. Okay, we're gonna do crack the code. We're gonna do warrior code. Tales report out California. I finally got around reading about those armored warfare books and collecting due to Fort Irwin Marine Corps training. 29 palms. We're getting information agents against the army that were trading and appears a simplified version of pre-war tanks. Damn it. Looks like our agent Sherman tanks from World War II radio intercepts to be these called the Grizzly Mk1 tanks and seem to function primarily as infantry support tanks, designed to engage raid strongholds or heavy gun support against wasteland horrors. Of course, a 75mm or heavy gun could just heavily knock out a trooper in power armor, but it's likely that the NCR learned some armor tricks for the chassis as well. There's supposed to be a parade out there for next week where they will be officially unveiling what looks like NCR rapidly mobilizing to handle the Legion, which unfortunately is not good for us. Bring me my brown pants. War. War never changes. It's October 2277, 200 years ago. The world ended at 9:13 Eastern Time. The Intel Integrated Operation Nuclear Detection System detected the first 4 missiles launched, and the United States went to DEFCON 2. 4 minutes later, NORAD confirmed sealing the fate of the world at 9:26 Eastern Time. The president secured a frig in the same remorse as the chairman, Chang, ordered a retaliatory strike. 2 hours later, the two powers who controlled the world fell silent. The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted. Too many humans, not enough space or resources to go around. Detailed or trivial and pointless. The reasons, as always, purely human ones. Now, all that remains are the children of a ruined Earth still suffering the scourge of atomic war. Inhabited the husk of once great cities, looking at our decaying murals, and some cling onto fading marks on the old world. However, ones in the wasteland never change. Certain in the depot and old power armor has awakened. Life in America is about to change. Lewis Bradley, as assumed. Get your hands off me! Get off me! Shouted Lewis Bradley, former leader of the Icaro Post Posse. Once a rising warlord plotting to seize the jewel of northern Nevada, Vol City, he was now in an orange jumpsuit, thrown into an old gentleman in a crispy gray suit. What the hell? Barked Lewis. Mr. Bradley, I'm Attorney General Grayson of the Enclave. The hell? What the hell is Attorney General? Chief Prosecutor of the Enclave of the United States. Now, Mr. Bradley, I'm here to inform you that you're being charged with 4 counts of conspiracy to commit acts of terror on an American city, 12 counts of extortion on known caravan trade routes, 1 act of running an organized crime gang, and 1 act of running a raider gang, trespassing on federal property, public indecency, and tax evasion. While Grayson was reading off the charges, Lewis was trying to interject and interrupt, but Grayson ignored him. Grayson didn't wonder why tax evasion was on the charge, though. Fuck you, authority boy. So that's a guilty. Crack the code of the NCR. Bear cannot fly. It seems like that since the NCR took Navarro, it found some wings. The bear production for outclass ours in Nevada. be hell if, on our reborn Air Force. Some will play sabotage, however, might tip the scales in our favor. Lewis Bradley sentence. For the first time reborn legal system in America, Lewis Bradley, the former leader of the Icaro posse in Northern Nevada, has been sentenced to 13 life sentences plus 57 years in a slam dunk trial by Attorney General Felix Grayson. Attorney General Grayson's prosecution laid out the charges before a group of Lewis Bradley's peers made up of Enclave service members, New Reno residents, and Vault City citizens who found Mr. Bradley guilty on all accounts. Mr. Bradley himself was reprimanded by the judge several times for his poor court conduct early in the trial. However, it was noted that by the end of the trial, he seemed to be in a daze as he couldn't understand what was happening to him. His defense lawyer has said that there will be appeal to tax evasion conviction, though laminated, and it will reduce his client's sentence to only 13 life sentences plus 56 years. Mr. Bradley refused comment and just stared blankly at reporters before being hauled off to the refurbished Federal Corrections Institution, Herlong, which is set up in a maximum security prison for gangs and raider leaders. A victory for American justice. We might try to get some planes later. Yeah, we need some planes. The new common man. The NCR adopted a lot of the ideals of old war America, including democracy and the respect for individual rights. But many lie forgotten in this society who could turn to us for assistance. If we need some support equipment, as we were missing. We need more construction speed. Common man, the forgotten men and women. Although the NCR's democracy is highly flawed, Brahmin barons run the northern territories like feudal holdings, crushing small farmers and factory workers. The caravan buy and sell senators for bottle caps, and ethnic tensions simmer between the surface. A leader who promised to restore pre-war America's ideals and rally the forgotten people of New California will be successful with our aid. We'll remember those who have been forgotten. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. We will fan the flames of discontent within the California Republic. News of corruption outside the threats and broken promises will be spread by radio stations and spies. There can be nothing but fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Well, that's not far from the truth of modern-day California, like a shithole it is. You could do some recycling. Organize some patriots in these islands. Organize some patriots up here. The League of Citizens. Lena gave us a speech to the audience of hardline segregationists of the autopilot, going on and on about the importance of segregating the radiation damage of the pure humans. She believed none of it. She had little choice to comply. Traditionalists in Vault City always long for a return for the days of Leonard's mother, where the superior breed of humans ruled. Oh, this sounds like Nazi-type shit, dude. It ruled over lessers. However, their influence has greatly dismantled in recent history, thanks to the NCR's influence. But the fall of Vault City, the NCR garrison was destroyed, and the few survivors ended up in Glockrotha to prevent spreading news of the Enclave return. Now free from NCR's gauge and their ranks bolstered by the more genetically aware reformers, the traditionalists have preserved themselves in Vault City politics. They have formed a new political party, the League of Citizens, which is quickly becoming the dominant political force in Vault City. The League aims to restore Vault City back to its glory days before the NCR's degenerate democracy infects the city. Before those damn faller anarchists spread those foolish notation of equality, when everyone knew their place and know about the specimens of humanity could lead some of the more radical League members believe the Vault City model should be spread all across America. After all, didn't the Vault City model lead to the advanced city in the wasteland? Lena wrapped up her speech, and the audience gave her an applause. Now a powerless figure of a hardline segregationist movement, she has no choice but to follow the party line. As she left the stage, she made a silent apology to the humans, ghouls, and mutants she had betrayed. Meanwhile, the new Reno Granite listened to the recording. Never did it occur to him that Wastelanders outside the Enclave could have their own hardline views of human Wastelanders, ghouls, and mutants. He'd have to choose this option wisely. No, let's go forward together. Okay, our new city. There were enough dissatisfaction elements of Vault City that we've been able to secure their loyalty. This is the second city of the reunited states. Our new city, Homecoming. Vault City and its corresponding suburbs of Courtyard was once the home to many of the Enclave refugees who have survived Navarro. And was here many made their home. The older settled here, and the next generation grew up in these streets, and the next generation had been friends with many of the other city's children, yet now they return not as fellow citizens but as conquerors, gazing over their former comrades from behind the eyes of power armor. Perhaps it was wishful thinking of Granite's part of using the former residents to assault the city. They knew it better than anyone, and it was hoping their fight would be quickly and decisive. In a moment of humanity, many from the city they couldn't bring themselves to shoot who they called friends, even family, instead reluctantly suggested for surrender and to avoid casualties. Much of the city's leadership refused. It took a special operation by a member from New Reno to finally crack the city open, knew that it's to lay back the Enclave hands. Many of its former residents couldn't help to assist its reconstructions from the fight between Vault City's security and Enclave soldiers. Others hope to resettle in their homes, though it may be awkward to resettle after their so sudden disappearance, only to reappear after the Enclave return. We are in charge now, or to be sure to incorporate the city guard. We're in charge here now. We will do the Gecko power plant. Ball City and Gecko could not cooperate, meaning their power supply was a fraction of what it could be. Now that we united them, aren't we all better off? Makeshift biplanes, hell yeah. Wait, these are missiles. Aaron Kimball elected as president. It's getting close to Fallout's New Vegas time. We're building the power grid. Gaining popular support through the rule of law and democracy is nice, but ensure an adequate power supply will show that our enemies have always been in the dark. Spies compromised. Enclave Vault Research Control. Several technicians working in the Gecko nuclear power plant have been tinkering around the plant's maintenance via some of the terminals. It is appeared that they found an emergency data dump from Control Station Enclave in the rig. It turned out the plant was hooked up to an old Poseidon net, and just before the rig blew up, the automatic emergency system sent a number data transfer between all sites with a large enough storage to contain the history of the Enclave. While this normally would be seen as great news, probably approximately the damaged reactor has corrupted the data set sent. We sent a history lesson, a few banners, and how to correctly display American flag ranks, but things like scientific data and other more vital pieces of information has all been corrupted. Once, however, it was not. The data from the Enclave Vault Research Control are monitoring every vault across this country, as well as secure signals our monitoring equipment has been sending out all these years. There were many always rumor amongst the old-timers about the vaults that why so many fell when was because of sociological data we gathered from them. However, that was always concealed by the highest authority, or so the rumors go. Could have be more than just lower ranks and files were ever let on. They're just rumors. Project Safe House. Calican ended his brief on the vaults on everything contained from the data collected from the vault's research control. Everyone in the room was stunned silent, not wanting to believe that was before them. It's gone over every file. I've read some hint shit in those vaults. I was Enclave Intelligence Chicago, and none of that prepared me for what I read. If you have questions, I might be able to answer them, spoke Callahan. Score 1 the Enclave Intelligence, how do you not know? Asked Castlehut. Callahan smiled. We monitored out, not in. Yet the rig still blew up, snarked Castlehut. Enough, barked Granite. Does anyone know what about this? I've debriefed the technician. They are sworn to not say a word, replies Stevenson. As of now, this is the only group that knows. It needs to stay this way. If order of this get out, argued Castlehut, Grandsad's death. Yes, messaging his template. The storage ceased he grew up on running through his mind. How the United States was so great. Everything was amazing. All his life, all he saw, the signs, but he denied them, ignoring them. But after his conflict with Anderson, the purist, and how this his image of the house upon a hill was, if not shattered, a little broken. Thomas was correct. If word got out, then what? However, there was still the matter of the vaults, and even he knew people would start asking questions, looking to decide how Callahan has made the logo of the corporation that made the vaults emblazoning proudly, and has his answer. We blame Vault-Tech. It's called a rug, sir, called Callahan. I don't care. Download those files. Lock them in some very hard master lock safe, and we'll never speak about this. I didn't beat that blowhard Anderson and just to have everyone riot and shed tears over this fact. For the first time, we stand a chance achieving the Enclave dream. No, not the one where we wipe everyone out. The one where we bring America back. Everyone knows about the vaults, all the horror stories that come from the scavengers. As far as the wasteland is concerned, it was all Vault Tech for profits, and we rebuilt the wasteland. Why change 200 years to common knowledge because we found a file? It was silence over the group. They mulled over the plan. Granite took advantage of this. It's been 200 years. Those who made up the plan are dead, and those who suffered from it died not long after. I've seen some failed vaults myself. Very few made it past 220, up to 200. 2200, I meant. We pin it on the pre-war Vault-Tec executives, and we call it a day. If anyone had any objections, I got my pistol loaded. Now, Callahan, those holotapes, bury it with prejudice. Okay, send out manual prospectors. Bury it with prejudice. It was unassumed safe at the bottom of the Sear Army Depot, tucked away in the storage room, filled with cleaning supplies. It was supposed to be used for the most pre-war industrial cleaning products after that great pre-war. Could be used to create more powerful chems. This is the excuse for the master lock on the safe itself. It has a false back. That was the security measure Callahan added, and you couldn't tell unless you were intimate with the dimensions of the Safeguard series safe. Behind it was a set of 4 holotapes that contained the recovery data of the Project Safe House, locked away where no one was ever going to find out about it. Callahan closed the safe. Remember back when the rig went up, how his mentor and former commanding officer has explained how no one could predict a trouble gaining access to the most secure location on the planet. The answer? The president classified the fact that there was a ship capable of transport towards a rig and could get past the defenses. The president classified the fact that any and all naval assets have been sunk or been sent elsewhere, leaving the rig vulnerable. The president classified the fact that dozens from the mainland were brought aboard for experiments and that someone may come looking for them. Any concerns was silence, and those who refused were exiled, executed, or erased. In a wasteland where anything that could happen, a treble got bored in the rig and blew it up, all because the president classified something that to save face. Now, where Callahan was during the exact same thing when the rig was destroyed, burying evidence to save face and protect the honor of the Enclave. Next time, he thought. He might not go along with it. If you lose honor by admitting fault, you have no honor in the first place. Admiral Isso Figiortoro. The data on the Project Safe House will be kept used for at a later date. The power grid. It's failing power grid. Despite sheltering us in Sierra and New Reno being our temporary capital, there is little we know about Nevada and what pre-war secrets or horrors it holds. Okay, we start building civilian power grids to get some cores. Get some standardized tools. Now we got dedicated factories. We do the Department of Defense and upgrade our military. Until the rise of the Reformists, the Enclave was largely run by military. Now that we are trying to restore the rule of law, perhaps we should revive a department devoted to military matters. Now we get some lifetime pensions. Here we get war economy. Surface-to-air missile ready. Chemtrade, control New Reno Vault City as get Enclave control of the West Pharmaceutical Company. Members of Enclave revive ties with criminal syndicates with seizing the waste chemtrade. Others suggest we legalize the chemtrade in our territory and take a cut. But some reformers claim we could do better, turn out mentats and antibodies instead of jet and trade for rare goods. But they're probably huffing Brahmin shit. Let us heal the nation's wound. Combine arms. Department of Defense. The Department of Defense Reborn, which is a series of pins on uniforms. With the present order, the Department of Defense has been restored. While officers slowly diverging the sub-departments under the Army to full branches worthy of their heritage. While the Army will still take center stage, being the reclamation of the Americas, primarily a land war, the other branches have laid out what we need to reform the military into pre-war fighting force that we knew to no equal. Many with the government, however, have pointed that focusing on the military will distract from much-needed reform and development projects on the civilian side of the House. To elevate these fears, the president spoke that the Department of Defense will take a back seat with the civilian restoration projects are still the primary concern of the government, pointing out the technological might of the Army and its rapid growing numbers. That means do not focus on the DoD all at once. Okay, Department of Defense all at once. Oh, got it. Reform the United States Army. In the Enclave, the Department of Army was the main force, and inside the government, everything was detailed to support the Army. With our expanding role, we need to redefine the Army's role and develop the infrastructure needed to support large-scale operations across America. Form the United States Army. As the U.S. Army was shrunken and downsized during the Great War, so too was the military. A power struggle developed amongst the chiefs of staff over resources, manpower, and favor with the president. While it is unknown what exactly happened, as most records went down with the rig, by the by our return in 2242, all that was ready remained was the army. The other branches existed, but were none more than pins or highlights on the uniform. Regardless, it was the army that led the return of mankind. It was the army that defended Navarro, and it was the remnants of the army that arrived at Secret Depot in 2275. As our operations expanded, the army itself will need to relearn what was lost in the Great War, how to function and maneuver as a large-scale fighting force in a not a series of small-scale assault squads. Everything from a mass production of weapons to the running of logistics, of course. Where to start is the question. Okay, stage raider attacks against the NCR. In order for us to stay hidden, we must make sure the New California Republic stays distracted with other enemies. By bribing nearby raiders to attack New California Republic border towns, we can ensure our security as long as it suits us. Academy never prepared him for this. Since incorporating the Vault City guards into our forces, one particular guard has stood out from the rest. Formerly a mid-level guard he's been standing out in our patrols to combat raiders and threats in the region, being a veritable one-man army, leading others to battle, and bringing them out alive. Several officers and his commanders are recommending his promotion based on his combat and skill levels. However, he was born in Courtyard and is not a Vault City genetic stock, meaning will be a true-born wastelanders in our officer rank. We can, of course, give him shuffle him around and loose paperwork. Of course we will have him. He is the best of the best. Organize requests, increase production capacity to various economical partners established in our trade. 30 factories will be required, and those demands are filled. We promise to increase trading traffic and will become under the table reward for so kind. Installation Management Command, Weather Stores, Dead Air Force Base. Ooh, turquoise solar project. We need that. 100 New Reno outskirts. Got it. We need it. Turquoise Solar Project. Not far outside of New Reno lay the ruins or former of the Turquoise Solar Energy Project. Like much of New Reno, is spared destruction from the Great War. However, 200 years of lack of upkeep and maintenance have led it and fallen into disarray. The gangs of New Reno never ventured to restart the project, lest they are targeted by rivals. Now the law and order has been restored, the Enclave managed to get the project running at nearly full capacity again. While no Helos 1, the project is more than capable of powering New Reno and nearby settlements for the time being. Good, now we can stop using generators. Finally can power my toaster. Nah. Stop using generators. Arming raiders. It's been suggested that we aim the raider factions bordering in the New California Republic. This would encourage them to attack NCR borders towns, drawing the attention of the bear away from us. We have no guns to spare for raiders, but plenty of bullets. Give me more political power. We need that. We do the doctrine, how we fight. We're taking back the continent the hard way, but just how exactly we're going to push forward. Rich metalworking. What should we build on now? Need more efficiency, I believe. Or we should increase efficiency in our stuff. We should do that. Bada bing, bada boom. How we fight. The doctrine of tomorrow. It's decided that we are going to have to take America back the hard way, block by block, town by town, city by city, until all glory is flying high in the sky. Once more from the sea in the shining sea. Of course, how we're going to do is a matter of debate. The army has come forward with 3 doctrines of which to choose from. Some of the more reserved proponents that we adopt a defensive approach while allowing our enemies to throw themselves at impenetrable defenses and allow us to walk over them. Then all that is left is a pile of dead bodies. They have left their methods from General Costin Chase of the Alaskan Reclamation. Other more daring members wish to adopt a high-speed offensive maneuverability, striking deep into enemy territories and driving home the true nature of total war, pointing to General Sherman when he broke the back of the Confederacy in the Civil War. Lastly, others wish a more measured approach, bring the full might of America, crushing down our enemies in a slow, inevitable advance that will see all crushing underfoot, like MacArthur when he drove the Chinese across the Yellow River before detonating atomic bombs to remind them who they were messing with. What we choose will be the primary doctrine moving forward. I will not make this decision lightly. American Juggernauts. Be it steel tracks, marching boots, or roaring of engines, the United States Army will return its former glory and become an unstoppable force, which so no enemies can withstand. The Old World Blues. Our scavengers have failed to find something, okay, nothing important. American Juggernaut. Might of a superpower. We have the industrial might, we have the military capacity, and there isn't a foe alive that can withstand the crushing, unrelenting, unstoppable force that is the American Army. MacArthur proved this in both the Pacific in World War II and in the Korea when he drove the military across seemingly impossible odds to destroy our enemies. First when he drove the Imperial Japanese military out of the Pacific, and when he drove the Communist Chinese army back across the border, securing victory in Korea. While we won't replicate his victory with the nuclear send-off like it happened both times, we can still replicate the drive and force needed to make the army be an unforgivable juggernaut, slowly making its way across the wasteland as we bring the light of America back to the eastern shores. Tremble in fear, wasteland. America's hammer. Army rail. We can't attack all day, but if troops cannot get the supplies they need, then the good is our attack. The armies will invest in a series of rail lines that are meant to be bulk supplies to the front lines as fast as possible. No rest, no respite. Artillery barrages by day, bombing by night, broken only when our troops are upon them, cowering in their holes and desperate for the nightmare to end. Make do. A lot of upgrades for our troops. And we get some tanks later on. Take hearts. Sharpen instincts. Silver lining. Makeshift cover. Reinforced plating. There we go. Naval doctrines. Take munitions. For air. Ooh. Alright, we need the decisive engagement. No rest, no respite. Attack, attack, attack. Every moment we wait is a moment for the enemy to prepare. Every strategy pause is a chance for the enemy to regroup. Every hour wasted is a chance for the enemy to retreat. We will not even let this happen. We'll see an incident. We have enough T-51 power armor around that we can fake a Brotherhood attack on NCR outposts. At the same time, we will order an attack on the Brotherhood using cracked NCR high command codes. That should be enough to tip the fragile peace. We do that in the middle of the Civil War. East Coast Exiles. To our autonomy, a group of unrecognized vertebrates that approach our location with the legitimate Enclave call sign. They are led by a lieutenant named Charles, sporting Enclave power armor. Swells travel from the Raven Rock facility from the capital wasteland, leading a vertebrate assault team, dispatching by Colonel Autumn to salvage assets from the ashes of Navarro and the rig. Mission was a suicide errand designed by Autumn to purge opposition from his ranks. Those that survived found us, not ruins. While news of the illegitimate President Eden is troubling, most of the Enclave vertebrates were east with Autumn's father, and Shrell's tactic experience is invulnerable in integrating air power with Enclave ground forces. That's not all who arrived. Stepping in the last vertebrate, Wells was quick to inform everyone that the commander of the operation was none other than George Harrison. No one has the slight idea who that was. Some didn't even know that was. Fortunately, some of the older members of the Enclave mentioned that it was the civilian leader of the all military assets in the United States military, answering only to the president himself. Harrison introduced himself to Granite, who was more than happy to receive the Secretary of Defense. After some introduction, Harrison described a falling out with the East Coast Enclave, and he was sent west to give the expedition some authority. He knew, however, it was the same as the rest. A way to rid him, suffice to say, was glad his expedition wasn't in vain. Good know they were carrying a VIP. Welcome aboard. Stead Air Force Base. Reno Stead Air Force Base was once a Stead Air Force Base, and the Air Force wants to make it so once again. There was a large National Guard annex to the base north side that was been picked clean by the various various mobsters and gangs of New Reno. It was likely that they were using those same weapons to shoot at us when we came rolling through. However, the situation in California makes the fact that we need air base along our capital in New Reno than ever. Engineer has been hard at work, restoring the old military annex and renovating the civilian side for additional offices and command centers for the base and the Air Force ready to retake Washington, D.C. out east. The efforts that has revitalized the New Reno outskirts slums, bring in increased revenue from the Air Force members stationed there. It's also brought in some other things like bars, pawn shops, and Miss Kitty has expanded her operations there, but so far the airmen wasn't complaining their spouses are, but they're not. I feel safer already. U.S. Ordnance, let's get that. Advanced generators, we get some irrigation. Lucy incident complete. We do Old World Radio. Enclave Radio can broadcast songs to trade on nostalgia for a better, older America, ignoring our shortcomings. U.S. Ordnance. Within the ruins of New Reno lays an old factory, guarded by high-end robots, turrets, and partially picked clean by scavengers and New Reno gangs. However, inside lays the factory workings of U.S. Ordnance, a pre-war weapons manufacturer. While it was never grow as large as the likes of Stent Security or West Tech, it was a modest company that focused in Nevada area post-war. Saw the factory look down only to open to the authorities, and the authority happened to be the U.S. government. Instead, we found the factory to be relatively intact, and with a few simple repairs can be returned to full working order, produce weapon materials for our growing army. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Now let's go for basic infantry weapons. Let's restore Carson City. Rebirth of Carson City. Seems that Carson City shared the inverse of what's going on in New Reno. But at the same time, our power armed troops and auxiliaries arrived. Most of our New Reno gains were on their last legs and surrendering. Thus, Carson City was spared much of the heavy urban fighting seen in New Reno. The inverse, however, is while such much New Reno is being rebuilt, Carson City is being neglected. Well, was anyways. First and foremost, while New Reno is being set up as our temporary capital here in the West, we've suddenly found ourselves shorthanded on how to deal with the rest of the state, as our most of our members are trying to deal with issues that are at national level. This shortcoming could quickly, very quickly, could come back to haunt us and the state collapse into a lawless wasteland. Now, some have suggested we use Vault City as a state capital, but we don't need the vault ruling over the entire state, and we need that power closer to home so we can control it. Thankfully, Carson City has all the answers we need for this, as the old state capital had much of its infrastructure preserved by the Yakuza after the war, in their attempts to rule over Nevada at much until the gangs of New Reno ejected them for causing too much trouble. We set up an infirm state government to run things at the local level, such as maintaining the level of police to investigate crime and other issues that don't concern us. Emergency service to army units are tied down. Seems the Yakuza, or rather the Japanese, have returned to the city and are restoring their old homes and shops after had been chased out. The city's nascent police department has more than a few army units have informed them absolutely no funny business, lest they be thrown out into the wasteland again. They agree to put their life of crime behind them, as living comfortably under Enclave guns is better than out in the wastelands. We have to admit that it's nice seeing some of the Japanese architecture return to the city. Nice to see it back. Old radio is up, and we're getting to Old World Blues. Country road, take me home to the place I belong. Broadcasting songs of a bygone era can support for our cause and make people ignore crippling flaws. Combined arms complete. Champions of Virtue. Wait, the structure of Mount Rushmore? I'm gonna read that. Old World Blues is up. Old World Propaganda. By reminding people of that America once stretched from sea to glowing sea, we can encourage them to support the Enclave and its cause. Caravan ambush. A trader caravan delivering goods between settlements near Vault City has been brutally ambushed, not only by brigands hold up the Brahmin, they slaughter everyone as well. Guards are appearance to accompany more caravans and merchants to do not want lose any more goods. A pursuit may steady their minds, but the blood has already dried. We at least try. Wasteland Tank. Old World Propaganda. Steel Caravans. Massive metal behemoths designed to get our equipment to the front line as fast and efficient as possible. A single one of our trains can carry enough equipment that the caravan can carry in a month. We get the machine gun. The proposal. While nothing more than an ad hoc, Granite has gathered up a colorful presidential cabinet. Miss Ariel stood as the head of the Enclave's presidential briefing room, her sharp gaze scanning the faces of President Granite and his cabinet. On the screen behind her lays the updated revisited tax proposal, the accumulation of months of work, and her plan to tax the wasteland possibly from Nevada to the East Coast. The proposal operates on 3 tiers. She began pointing at the map in the front of her. First, caravan companies and other large businesses will be taxed based on the volume and trade of goods transported between regions. The more they trade, the more they contribute to rebuilding infrastructure and security. Second, settlement tax will be based on population and industrial output. Small settlements pay less, while larger hubs like New Reno or Vault City contribute more. This encourages growth, like keeping settlements from being overburdened. Finally, she highlighted the third tier, luxury and resources tax. Rare goods, pre-war tech, and valuable resources will be taxed at higher rates, ensuring even black market economies contribute to the Enclave's efforts. The proposal was designated to scale all regions, adapted to the unique changes of each area. In Nevada, where caravans were king, the focus would be on trade taxes. To California, with its larger urban centers, resources and luxury taxes would dominate and possibly beyond as the nation developed. The system will fund infrastructure, restore order, and stabilize the economy, she concluded, showing projects' revenue growth over the next 5 years. From the faces alone, everyone, including the military officers, had no objections. From a mass-savvy prostitute in New Reno to the architect of the Enclave's financial future, Miss Aria's journey has a testament in her talent. With the proposal in Granite's hands, the wasteland has one step closer to order, and she was the one who made it possible. Well, let's get this show started. The Secret Meatloaf. Recently we've heard of a man who goes by the simple Monk What? That looks blurred. He claimed to be from a far land we cannot find on any old world maps. We point out from this description of ancient country of great warriors called Sweden, but it seems that it's not from where the mysterious T hails, judging by his extremely irritated expression. Regardless, the ghoul brings the secret with him. The best goddamn homemade lethal recipe we ever tasted, and he wants to share. Best grub grifters have adopted the famous recipe all throughout the country. Recently, groups have been making pilgrimage from even distant lands of foreign and exotic gods and just to have a taste, which he writes all as well. Get the inside radio up. Steel caravans researched. MacArthur's doctrine. From the Pacific to Korea and even parts of Vietnam, MacArthur laid the groundwork of Americans' doctrine throughout the 20th century and was the basis of our actions in China. We honor the American war hero by bringing his tactics into the 23rd and soon 24th century. MacArthur's doctrine research. Sell tank tech. Scavenger's jackpot. Scavengers returned to New Reno with reports of an attacked military base. We thought we lost an energy weapon stockpile. Traditionally, Scavenger has been have the right with the property fine, but they could use our new policies for seize his fines. On the other hand, if we respect his claims, it would be to cement our claim to stand for order and the rule of the of law. We have laws applied to the people and the government alike. We will inaugurate Congress, the voice and representative body of the people. While the president is at the helm, the body of Congress shall squabble and argue amongst themselves in a brilliant display of democracy. There's a fancy casino where we renovate to do just that. Dedicated factories researched. Scrap shacks. Inaugurate Congress. To resort to Congress, construction finished today on the new congressional building, another milestone of President Reno's initiative. While voted by many, the haywire robotic security, government shut down the codes and they negated this fact and allowed construction to begin in earnest on one of the new well-preserved structures of all New Reno. Benefiting the gratitude of the American Congress, the resort was paired to full working condition. Resort rooms turned over to offices, and the large halls turned over to the Reformed House of Representatives and Senate. Speaker of the House, Aaron Graham, brought to session the House of Representatives to deliver the first set of laws, while Senate Majority Leader Jessica Rhodes began forming committees on how to deal with the myriad of problems facing the nation. The day ended with the House forming a new budget and the Senate opinion to form an exploratory committee on how to deal with various wasteland nations who laying claim to the U.S. soil only in America. Dedicate the Supreme Court. The highest court in the land, and with the law of the Malib, where the Supreme Court sits, this will not be far easier than trying to set up law and order in the post-war wasteland of America. Time more activities, Sal Manual Prospects, the Silver State, and Military Committee. Thanksgiving. America enjoyed the return of the 4th of July so much that the president is thinking about restoring more holidays. One of his favorite Enclave traditions is Thanksgiving, where we carve the roast death claw and eat sweet potato pies. We could revive this tradition for the entire country, ensure people are thankful for family and friends. The Enclave for protecting friends and family. Low prices. The Enclave for protecting friends and family. Irrigation complete. There's silver in them hills. The tools aside Vegas and acting as a bombing range, Nevada was home to the largest silver and gold mines on the West Coast. Surprisingly, with the rare precious metals are still considered valuable in post-war markets, and we're sitting on motherloads of this stuff. Not to mention, once word get out that there's a fortune to be made here in Nevada, people will start flocking to the area like in the gold rush of ancient times. Of course, if we use people, we kind of have to take care of them, or no one will arrive. We could make up for it with robotic workers who put full time on with no breaks. However, that will cause tension amongst the populace. No one going to arrive if robots do all the work. We value human miners over the machines. We need more population as well. Raiders off Vault City. We're getting complaints that caravans heading north as well as representatives from several settlements asking for protection against a roving raider warband called the Elko Posse. The leader, a Lewis Bradley, I think we got him already, seems to be trying to take a den of northeastern Nevada. While normally wouldn't be a problem in our radar, apparently he's got his sights dead set on Vault City, and the recent fighting there makes him think the city is weak. Oh, how wrong he is. Of course, there are the criminal charges we could bring. He's running a protected racket is expanding the slave trade. He's been buying and paying in the gold and silver mines up there, which is, even if we don't care about the good stuff, the fact that the old gold, silver were still valuable in the wasteland is a godsend. Granted, it's a possibility because we were so close to the NCR, but if we were to repossess the gold, it could allow us to jumpstart our economy beyond the trade caravan and gambling rings to New Reno. Let's go get them. I think they're dead. We're doing high caliber ammunition. We'd like some boom. Dig Extreme Court. Long Armed Law comes home. Another milestone for the new Reno initiative. New Reno now has a new building to add to its list of landmarks. The C. Clifton Federal Building was refurbished and renovated in a Herculean task after the building was looted and near destroyed during the Great War by rioters trying to obtain U.S. weapons stored there. Now it stands restored and renewed, a testament to the Reno Initiative and the drive the President granted to restore the wasteland to glory. The building will serve as the Supreme Court and is expected to be hearings and here in the next coming weeks. The reopening ceremony saw the President reaffirming of their commitment to returning the rule of law in the wasteland, and that is this development was to be a cornerstone of that philosophy. From law, we shall return America to order. Okay, we go get something near Shady Sands to get their capital. Dude, arsenal of democracy. Pre-war America was built was a military-industrial powerhouse, so powerful in fact it ended the world. We could reignite the fires of liberties, industries, and bring the light of the old world to the wasteland, or restrain it to prevent another apocalypse. Okay, we're going Coyote for the tanks. Grab Shacks up, upgrade our dogs a little bit more. Pursuit. Militia found the brigade hands. They could not stop their escape. Multiple members of our militia died in the assault. It seems their sacrifice was in vain. Fuck. Arsenal of Democracy. The Forge of Freedom. Pre-war America was known as the Arsenal of Democracy, and its industrial capacity was unraveling. Even the Chinese communists couldn't hope to meet the output of the United States during the war, and it was only the Great War that fought to the end. Throughout the end. Even today, that the surviving husk of the pre-war era was still looked to with envy by every supposed post-war industrialist. If we were to reestablish such power, the wasteland could have nothing to stand against us. If we produce weapons and armor by the thousands, why they produce only in the tens? Old world corporations like Robco, West Tech, beating alongside new startups like the Van Graffs and Tim Tanks. But of course, this is the fact that it was the very corporation that drove riots at home and sent the right world into a death spiral along the communists. Long ago, the United States military made everything in-house, and it can do so again, though we have to sacrifice output when comparing to what we could be doing. Debate among the military commanders is result reaching fever pitch. In the president's words, have more than enough sway. We're going strengthening for the new world. Freedom factories. The army once made everything it ever needed. Weapons, artillery, uniforms. I will do so again. While we'll be slow going, we have once again built a new and better army for the new world. Get Champions of Virtue. I think we finished all of the army thing. Yep, we certainly did. We'll get more missiles. Freedom Foundries, forging the arsenal. Now that America has returned to its own shores once more, the army is more ready than ever to shed a single production line of the rig, and then return to the powerhouse that it was pre-war. Constrained and within reasons, of course, the army has come forth with plans to revitalize its procurement industry as well as expand its production lines in-house. The principles in our Army Procurement Command, which will traditionally develop new equipment for the Army, is instead aimed at restoring what once was. Others are the restoration of our Army arsenals across the United States, turning many of our old installations into outright factory complexes of their own. The development of these new facilities will, of course, be overseen by the Army Corps or engineers, who have already begun working on restoring America's old factories. I think we need more Army arsenal. We got frag grenades. Oh my god, we got a lot. Corps of Engineers. The Army Corps of Engineers will begin working on redesigning and enhancing the various military factories all around the country, or what's left of it anyways. Army Corps of Engineers complete. Army Procurement Command. A board of rank and army officials whose sole mission is to ensure that our troops have the best equipment possible and that will bring builds to the highest quality. Old World Blues. Discoverers failed to bring something. Damn it. High caliber ammunition researched. We're doing volatile explosions. Long range radio or complicated circuitry. Excellent. Army Procurement Command researched. Automated factories. To cut the cost and maintain strands, military factories will automatic labor overseen and maintained by army officials. Make factories complete, and missiles complete, and dogs complete. More stuff into planes. Okay, you don't need any resistance stuff. We're gonna do stuff in California. Defense Oversight Board. Audits, surprising inspections, and detailed reports, our factories will be reminded that they are there for the defense of the nation, not their own goals. Defense Oversight Board complete. Eminent domain. In times of war, the U.S. Army will be able to nationalize private factories without resistance from unpatriotic individuals more concerned with their bottom dollar than the survival of the country. Check for spies complete. Form General Staff. Our General Staff needs to prepare for real wars against real states. Fortunately, the data banks have plenty of records of the last time America fought a real war. Ah, crap. Find tools researched. Guerrilla tactics. Form General Staff complete. Old remnant officers. The old officers are set in their ways, but the ones who have survived, held out against the New California Republic and Brotherhood, would be fools to ignore them. Older officers complete. Officers by loyalty and devotion. Too many purists still hide in the officers' rank. We should only promote those loyal to America. Volatile explosives complete. Get some trained dogs. Ooh, we need to get some spies in to cause some disruption. Officers by loyalty and devotion. Officer Corps reborn. The spit and polish that crisp solitude has this ability to launch a pincer into the enemy's position. Our officers are as good as any West Point earned out. Rescue operation now when our spies are incompetent. It is armor hardening. Get some robots to support us. Ops Court reform, basic basics. After the Great War, much of the remains of the U.S. Army were the elite teams stationed at key installations, and whatever remnants were scraped along the way. Over time, these elite individuals formed the core of the Enclave military for the next 200 years. Of course, time has a way of changing things as those elites grew old and a new generation is born. That this new generation trained by the veteran elites and the next generation as follows. While this system worked well for the small force that the Enclave, as our army grows to several thousand, if not millions, men and women we need to change. Pre-war, the branches consolidate training under the Army's Training and Doctrine Command, and many of its records are still intact at Sierra Army Depot and elsewhere. What's more, we have veterans experience that wastelands warfare and easily form the cadre needed to restrain old Tradoc and bring the new generation of the U.S. military. Let's get to work. Pentagon Reborn. We do military academies. Pre-war officers went through some of the finest schools in the world to lead our armies, while many on the East Coast, nothing is stopping us from to establish new academies on the West Coast. We do some virtual reality training. Ah, damn it. We get some congressional oversight. Routine reports will be delivered to Congress and made public to the nation. Anything classified will have to be at the approval of Congress and be subject to a yearly review. We get Loyal as one of our military staff. Purebred Mutt. Congressional oversight researched will revive the Air Force. The rebel governments of the Wastes have been able to field planes of their own to contest the skies. It's time to revive the United States Air Force and show them who really rules the heavens. Platoon training is some improved turrets. We're gonna have miniaturized circuitry. The new Reno address. New Reno has been transformed from a vice and gang-ridden city to a vice and political-ridden city. The center of the government for the Reform Enclave is here on the West Coast. From the steps of the Western White House, Grant will address the future of American wasteland. Mr. Gutsy will be good for the military. Secrets of Area 51. Monoplane fighters, getting those. 51. We're gonna rate it. Vice compromised. Get him out. Reno address. President today gave an address to the steps of the Western White House to a large crowd of onlookers among the restored city of New Reno. What you see before you is a city that we have rebuilt. Is what a taste of what the Enclave will do for the rest of this country. The United States will live again. It is through endeavors like the Reno Initiative that we will turn this blighted wasteland to a thriving paradise, where survival is not the word of the day, but the echoes of a bygone era. The Great War might have knocked America to its knees, but this country will stand proudly once again. What has happened? What was this called? The New Reno address is in the local press has renewed a sense of pride and patriotism in the citizens of New Reno, who no longer see themselves as a pawn of gang lords, but as citizens of a country they only read in the history books. Critics, of course, point out that the president seemed to hide ulterior motives and that the Vegas promises were too open to be truly kept. So far, those predictions have not been yet to make manifest. Recordings of the speech are available on hall tapes in local stores. God bless America. Okay, we're going to work with the integration of all mutants. Contrary to popular belief, not all ghouls are feral. Many of them are just like the rest of us, people struggling to thrive in unforgivable wasteland. Some are old to remember when America was a country and not a wasteland. Let us reach out our hand to invite them to help us rebuild what they once knew. We'll get the Fox Doctrine. Second Battle of Hoover Dam had begun. We're broken up between the New California Plug and Caesar's Legion. close personal towards we always consider our position. So when one nation conquer the other, the resulting superpower may threaten our very existence. I believe they can bring war to a standstill by means of sabotage supply lines. Alrighty, you want to sabotage as much as possible. Wait, this could be a good thing. Yeah, they're pulling their troops back. This could be it. This could be it. Still cast from Rupert territory. I think we managed to decipher message. Alright, let's get them. 7 defense. Accept ghoul marriage. Since we decided to recognize ghouls as US citizens, an odd situation has come up. A wasteland from New Reno has demanded we recognize this marriage to a ghoul. Although we don't interfere with what consenting adults do in their bedroom, we really don't want to know what those two do in theirs. They have brought a challenge to the new Supreme Court to hear their constitutional challenge. Although one justice asked whether this was a priority in this grim post-nuclear wasteland, a member of the court has argued that civil rights are always important. The court has 3 options before it. The first, it could say that do we find ghoul marriage gross, and we can't deny rights to the American based on our dislikes as long as we aren't imprisoning or executing people. Second is note that the 14th Amendment guarantees all U.S. citizens equal protections of the law, and rule that banning ghoul marriage violates the Equal Protections Clause. We will issue a rambling decision that doesn't give any clear standing on the following nature in future cases, and let us say levels of love and get a quote on the wedding. Equal protections argument. We're doing white team. Truck bomb launched biplanes, rocket bombers, and the occasional monoplanes make up the vast post-war air forces. Target these laughable excuses for air power will increase our ever-so-tight grip on command of the sky. We'll get some sentry bots. Can't do shit.
I've been waiting for a fight.
Oh shit. Raid repelled. Excellent. Red team. Our enemies rest happy that their commanders will lead their armies to victory, but you're real shame if one of them died. Communist ghouls? Grant's anti-communist diabrates have been a subject of discussion, and it appears that one of the pre-war ghouls, a libertarian librarian before the Great War, has offered to speak with Granite to explain communism to him. She asked Granite to read a book about Das Kapital, which she says was a communist work. Let's read it. Better read. Granite give up on the gas capital after the first few pages, finding it incredibly tedious and completely incomprehensible to someone raised 200 years after the nuclear war. Suddenly decides it's simply un-American to oppose baseball, but not a sign of communism sympathies. Scholarwood. Ghouls in the army. With the allowance of ghouls as full productive citizens of America, there is always a raised question amongst their military command of allowing them to serve in the army. On the other hand, they have hundreds of years of survival experience, with a few of them are former soldiers themselves. On the other hand, there are lingering risks of one or more of them turning feral. The feral ghoul in power armor is a dangerous creature. This camp is advocating for segregation battalions of ghoul infantry, and even run by ghoul officers. There would be more political voices among us, but we didn't kill most of them. The debate is reaching fever pitches, but the president's voice carries weight beyond measures. Orderly integration now. Proud patriots all. There's more than planes. Red team researched. Shock troopers. When enemy militia or hostile raiders look to fight the American army, they will know what hit them. When our shock troopers blast through their trenches, they'll leave nothing but destruction in their wake. Three Majors speaks out. This chief mayor has spoken out against the integration of ghouls in America. Okay, fuck you. Bye-bye. Shock troopers researched. Blue book. You're going to accept super mutants. Super mutants might once have been destroyed, but their number has been dwindling for decades. Plenty of them are brutes beyond reasoning, but some of them are rumored to think and feel just as regular human beings. If they're willing to join us, we can use their formidable strength to rebuild America. Remember what we lost. Army Chief of Staff, go on in. Bass drills, get some iBots. National Information Infrastructure. Poseidon, AnclaveNet, and Roboco Mail, the hard information networks that have been surviving the Great War still operate in waste, accessed by scavenging and fools. One of the scientists have studied Network and Gecko and proposed a radical plan to link all the computers together, create a national information infrastructure. We could listen to all of it with our enemies unaware. Guess when you listen to your words and to keep you safe. Stars in Stripes of Syria, local ghoul have taken over the remains of old Potts Diner area, and Shillington has restored to full working order along with working out a deal with the local caravan company to supply food. The Stars and Stripes at Sierra Diner and Trade Post have become a massive hit with military members at the nearby base and their families, and has brought life back to the area. Along with the food served, the area around has become something of an open market for travelers wishing to travel their goods. With the residents of Hurlong, the owner of the establishment, was asked why they choose here of all places, and was quoted as saying they were inspired by the pioneer saloon out to the Mojave wanted their own little place to call their own. Men and mutants. Even amongst the ardent of reformers, integration with supermutants was off the table. Nothing more than hulking beasts, stories from Oregon, told of brutish monsters that ate children, and the fear of the master still scarred the land. Oh, sure, were the occasional smart ones, but they were far and few between. And amongst them, even fewer want to live peacefully, even at the best of times, were violent brutes. Granted, company itself have done battle with Supermoon's bands from Oregon, and among Granite himself was no love for the beast. What there was, however, pragmatism, risk versus reward. Every now and then, Grant has a bright idea, and this one was one of them. A single Spreel was worth 5 Wastelanders be in the fight, moving stuff, or their mere presence. No one's going to argue that a 7-foot tall, angry wall of muscle and a big monster. That meant that for every supermutant that was in a society, it was 5 Wastelanders freed up for something else, like service in the army. Sure, there would be the violent ones, but humans were just as violent further. If it fails, well, he can stand out and make a show about it, and to do it, people know how they tried in the super mutants or have shown they were better to be eradicated. Simple and effective. Perhaps it'll work. Non-human rights. Followers and why I lose legitimacy, that's stupid. And traders speak of a strange race of sentient raccoons that live in an underground burrow on the edge of jackal territory. We accepted anyone else and given them human rights? What, one more race, even if they are not human? If they're talking, intelligent, then we let them in. Supreme Court Justice. President Granite, astonishing news. A ghoul has appeared in New Reno who claims to be a surviving member of the Supreme Court. He said he was on a ski trip in Colorado when the Great War broke out, and he spent the last 200 years traveling the waste and administering justice. We were skeptical, especially when we asked for his name, which is Paul Goodman. Saul Goodman. We doubt anyone was named that pre-war, but he claims it's a post-war name. His real name is Robert McGill. Jim McGill Goodman. We'll look through what records we have, but the calendar checks out, and restoring him to the Supreme Court could be a big step towards reviving America's legal system. Let's get him. Leaders, a protest against supermutants. Mayor came out against Officer City. Loyal members of the Guard. Protests, a lot of protests. Commonwealth, he gave them the Commonwealth. Are supermutants equal to you or me? You are get equal representation in local government. We were all around the shop and monsters still are. I don't like reading. He's going to be a problem, isn't he? Yep, he is. Kill him now. Mutant representative. Grannon looked on the map Callahan had before him, pondering that what he's going to have for lunch today. We got raiders attack here, and here. They're learning to listen for the beat of the vertebrate blaze, and they cleared out before it's too late, explained Callahan. Grannon also said he could have a good thrasher and Tato Club sandwich after this. It was then the PA came out, and the secretary called and rather ravenous. Mr. President, the super mutant representative are here to see you. They were down early, some in... called Granite. Sorry, Callahan. Callahan just shrugged before walking in the hulking yellow super mutant wearing a striped business wear with a comically oversized label. At least he tried. Overall, it appeared to have been made out of 3 different sets of all sewn together. Callahan with the shirt and reinforced heel and leading to Granite. It's a female super mutant, sir. Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Vanessa. I represent what's left of the super mutants or here in New Reno, spoke to super mutant Vanessa. Granite regained his composure, stood up his straight head. Hello, Mr. President Granite. It's nice to meet you, kind that's not trying to shoot or eat me. Feelings mutual, as most of the encounters with anyone claimed to be from government, enclave, or otherwise tend to shoot at me, or rather did. I and my colleague Adam worked with the rights here in New Reno. Thought we have always overshadowed by Thrad. However, with him gone, perhaps Adam and I could get some work done. Granite looks puzzled. Adam? Vanessa stood aside as Granite and Callahan yet heard the sound of movement. It was fleshy. Opened the door, Oval Office stepped in the centaur, dressed in the blue striped suit. Jesus Christ! Shouted Callahan as he pulled out his plasma pistol. Every Secret Service agent readied their weapons as its centaur. Oh, terribly sorry. Maybe I have done more to warn you, came a voice. Granite looked around, tried to made it until his eyes, the centaur, his mouth dropped. It talks? Well, I guess. There are 3 bodies and a dog in here, laughed the centaur. Though I would rather not have every gun pointed at me. My second mind is a bit squeamish on guns. Stand down, Granite ordered, though really more in the daze than anything, as the centaur waddled up to him. Good day, Mr. President. My name is Adam. Only one of my kind being a enlightened centaur. What? Asked Callahan. I thought that was impossible. And I thought working with the Enclave and being accepted as a citizen was impossible. Laugh at him. That's how looking at his pistol. First time for everything, I guess. I'm the Centaur Senator. So you're in line Centaur. What does that entail? Asked Granite. Not much. It means I'm still a sentient being just like everyone else. However, makes a unique opportunity, explained Adam. And what would that be? Asked Granite. Despite what common knowledge that will tell you, us children of the Master are not united. Certain ones can say that it will be no longer regular super mutants, and Nightkin there is division. Amongst first generation super mutants and second generation super mutants, there is division. Even from the third generation up in Oregon, being they were not created by the Master image, Vanessa and I worked hard to create unity. Not that unity, sorry. Cohesion amongst our kind. As difficult as it is, I am in a unique position. I don't have a bone to pick in this fight. And let me tell you, the dog in me is very unhappy. Yeah, that dog in him, chuckled at him, trying to give out a small laugh. Vanessa and I can work with the super mutants in this country wherever it goes. Keep them under control. The smart one will join. The dumb ones will follow. The violent ones, well, as always, behind the woodshed, I assure you. As a creature who is part dog, I'll still know a few tricks and can learn more. Callahan and Graham whispered, Sir, I want off this wild ride. So do I, Callahan. The president today announcing the creation of a super mutant commonwealth. While not a full commonwealth, the idea behind it was for a full official structure to work with the super mutants of the nation, not only to address their needs before the government, but also to work on issues involving super mutants such as violence and other matters. This was met with predictable outrage and other critics, effectively saying that initiates are running an asylum, and that is supposed to make us feel safe. This, of course, is coming off the heels of the president's controversial decision to allow super mutants as full citizens of the nation. Several legal changes are being put forward to remove this, particularly from efforts in Vault City. However, it is unlikely these efforts will go anywhere in the future. They're here now. The Burrows. We're getting reports that the interior Nevada of a strange colony of small furry mutants. We dispatched a vertebrate for a flyover. From what the pilots recovered, it looks like a pre-war raccoons, with a mismatch of tribal and ballistic weapons. Though it didn't shoot at our vertebrate, they weren't too happy about it. Welcome to the United States of America. Ice. Hit the blue book. The Valley Force will become the bedrock of the Army regulations. Sierra Army will work with this redispute and thankfully found space that was sealed in the Sierra Army Depot. You'll get more reconnaissance. There's no one in there yet. No one's at the border. Okay, we need to sabotage Kaiser supply lines now. White piece. Infantry school. It's not enough to send our infantry to boot camp. A dedicated course will teach our soldiers to be infantry in the tip of the bayonet in our next war. We're gonna play an attacker and triplane attacker. Now, long range radio. Atlantis services. We just received proposals from our liaison from the Burrows. The Burrows appear to have gripped in by patriot fervor, and the place is openly displaying their newfound love of our country. Many of their younger generations, however, has been gripped a bit stronger, has sent forward a petition to be allowed to serve in the U.S. Armed Service. The proposal for this often expect us to stoop at lower levels, but several officers are nothing that they could have excellent scouts, able to scurry far ahead of our advancing remaining detected by enemy forces. Who wouldn't think twice of a small furry mammal? Watched them from a distance. Of course, open the doors to non-human mutants as a can of worms. Many have more traditional thinkers, both in and out of uniform, to be in poor taste. I guess our size could have an advantage. We need more power armor divisions now. We have so much power armor. The infantry school, specialist training. As heirs to the military industrial complex, we can train men for far beyond the rabble of the Legion or NCR. Will this cause a bit of political turmoil? When soldiers, unlike some societies, Enclave trained as soldiers. This is why it takes more than Rascorpions to make them flee the field. They can't speak words. Disciplined soldiers, the new American Titans, the backbone of the American Army's power armor, from the Anchorage Reclamation to the Battle of Shanghai to the Siege of Navarro. American soldiers have lived, breathed, and died in power armor. In the wastelands where power armor is at most worn by raider bosses or paladins, it will be Americans who will walk the waste as Titans among them. More into our air technology. American Titans researched precision motors. Rank and file infantry. Powered armor will always be key to the Enclave, but resources are spent on arming as many men as possible. How do you plan to maintain divisions of power armor in a nuclear wasteland? Rank and file infantry and power armor integration. Although we've always relied on power armor, one of our officers want to take it the next step. Captain Wilson Freeman has published a treatise calling for a lightning war, where power armor flanks enemy positions, cut off their lines of retreat, and capture the survivors. This just might work. Hide activities NCR now? Okay, we get to the Golden Gecko Entertainment Company. Major General Grimm.
Who the hell is this? The president? Look,
And Thomas Remy Grimm. We finished power armor integration as the new American Army will start. Look at the march past. We are no longer a few bands hiding in power armor. We are the American Army. We're back. We get some cooling systems. Stonks. Bowler Bear, maybe Bear. We get surprise drills number 2. Cluster defense. New American Army research in conventional warfare. Alrighty, I believe in next episode we will declare war with the NCR. I'm gonna end my episode off here for today, everybody. Thank you for watching the video for today. I appreciate it. Please leave a like and subscribe. I appreciate it as well. And I hope you have the best rest of your day, afternoon, or night. Goodbye, everyone.